Yep, here I am. Uh, well, as usual, plenty of things that happen in my life. I'm still surprised on what falls in my lap about news of the weird, or well, I've also called it in my Facebook postings weird interactions with the general public. I have understood for quite a while that my best stories to tell, best jokes to tell, are about the weirdest, most annoying things that happen in my life. And I know some of them are music related, which makes it easier to remember and sometimes more fun. I go regularly to the Aldi grocery store in my neighborhood, and uh, they can have some good deals on non-food items. Of course, it was just Christmas, and what caught my eye in one aisle this weekend was Dancing Santa. Uh, and then there was a lady there who must have pressed the button to get it dancing. Holly Jolly Christmas was what was playing, and there were some other characters too. I decided to press the button and get the reindeer going, except that wasn't a Christmas song. It was "Let's Twist Again," and then it did lead to a brief conversation with the lady where I noticed that the other two characters were a unicorn and a snowman, and I said, well, yeah, it's kind of odd that they gave one uh, dancing character non-Christmas song, but I learned recently and it made sense that for us, a snowman is really not a Christmas song. But if you're going to do a TV special about it, it's going to sell better if it's about Christmas. And then she said, well, it's also in winter. And it's like, well, I wanted to fire back right away that it's only in the northern hemisphere that we experience winter during Christmas, not in Australia and not in South America. And then it's like, oh, good. It was delayed, but I still had my confirmation this weekend when I saw that Corona beer commercial that they have every Christmas. Because, of course, in uh, Central and South America, it's pretty warm at Christmas. But I mean, it just works for me. The different variations that they have on that Corona commercial, where they just have somebody whistling a Christmas song while something gets lit up, be it a big palm tree or a little Christmas tree. Uh, so yay for that. Where something that works, they keep using. Uh, yeah, I'm always inspired by music. That's why I like this mic so much. It's because of the variety mic. Well, I'm also a big Charlie Brown fan. I know one thing I saw this weekend reminded me of a Charlie Brown special because I was at Cub Foods. I wanted to get one of those buttons for the St. Paul Winter Carnival. I mean, it's an annual thing to do, and of course, they're cheap. Who knows what it'll be like this year with the pandemic, though?
Yeah.
Where I don't know if they're going to have the same ice sculptures like before. I know there was one festival where all I did was buy the button because everything else was virtual. But be that as it may, I know what reminded me of Charlie Brown specials this weekend. I was at Cub Foods was I actually saw somebody at self checkout wearing sandals, and there was snow outside. And I know in one Charlie Brown special, you still see Peppermint Patty wearing sandals when there's snow outside. It's like, oh, I guess they don't change that essential thing about her even for the winter. Go figure. I know that my then lady friend pointed that out to me. It's like, yeah, that never really occurred to me. I didn't really pay that close of attention how no matter what, Patty is wearing sandals. Uh, so yeah, I'm the type that does look for Charlie Brown and Snoopy everywhere. And while I was at Cub Foods, I did buy one of those popcorn tins that had a Charlie Brown theme. Eventually, I'll eat the popcorn. I'm not sure when. Maybe I'll wait until the Super Bowl, which will still be better than, I guess, what I normally try to do, which is my annual attempt to make popcorn on the stove. Uh, and that doesn't work as well as, say, if you just put a bag of popcorn in the microwave oven. It can get really messy when I try to make it on the stove. Uh, more commercials. Yeah, there are some really good ones this time of year. holiday themed or otherwise. Progressive Insurance has one where they talk about trying to teach people how to live and not be like their parents or something like that. And the one part of that commercial I really like is when one of them is trying to help somebody he doesn't even know, like in a hardware store, and then the man trying to tutor him said, "Did he ask for your help?" And it's like, yes, I deal with that all the time, where somebody thinks I need help, even though I'm not asking for it, and then they try to help me. And there was one time I was with my dad, and he said, "They're just trying to help you," and it's like, well, I even said to him loud enough for the other person to hear it is sometimes the best way to help people is to not help them. I know that we all lead different lives, but I guess I'm very prideful. I'm the type that when I need help, I'll ask for it. Plain and simple. I before I started watching some DVDs this week, and that's still mainly what I do for entertainment. I did keep it on the TV right after turning it on to something on CBS Morning News, where it was a year-end thing about the people that we lost this year, and of course, mostly famous people, entertainers. And one of them was Johnny Nash, the musician that was famous for singing "I Can See Clearly Now," and it's like, well, yeah, that's a pretty good song on trying to get through hardship like a pandemic. But it reminded me that the one that I like even more about trying to be uplifting through a tough time is "Ooh Child" by the Five Stairsteps. So yay for that on how some of these old songs still get played on the radio, because that's the only way I knew of "Ooh Child." Was I was just flipping through radio stations and I found that. Yeah, if I find a good song on the car radio, I keep it there. Doesn't matter how old it is. Did that? Oh, and of course I do get out to go to the laundromat, and since I grew up in a laundry town because my old man worked for Maytag, when I called him this week and he asked me, "Well, did they have Maytag equipment there?" I said no, and I don't know what they had. But at the laundromat, it's still surprising. Some of the, I guess it goes back to that Progressive commercial. Some of the things that people will say to you whether they think they're being helpful. Somebody was leaving and they didn't use all of the time on their dryer. And then they said to me, "Sir, there's 4 minutes left on my dryer." They really didn't notice a few different things, Bill. First, I had already loaded the dryer I planned on using. Second, mine was $1 cheaper than the one that they were offering me. And three, it was only 4 extra minutes. I mean, is that really that good of a deal when I didn't have enough for all of that and didn't need it? And then eventually, it reminded me of Who's on First, that routine from Abbott and Costello. It was also the movie Rain Man, where we just weren't on the same page. During that time discussing it, some of that 4 minutes was flying away. So, yeah, it really wasn't that good of a deal at all. I guess I've heard that part about don't look a gift horse in the mouth, but sometimes what you're being offered is meh, if I'm saying that right. And I didn't want to tell them that, but I mean, eventually I just said, "Thank you, I'll figure it out." I mean, I could have started that a lot earlier, but they were so insistent on, "You're giving me such a good deal." Yes. Yeah, I was still watching holiday specials this weekend. Both TV specials, Charlie Brown as well as the Grinch. Somebody recommended the most recent movie-length Grinch story. I've seen the one with Jim Carrey, but not the one from a couple of years ago. Yeah, I can still find that at Redbox, and I don't know. But the one I did get from Redbox was called Words on Bathroom Walls, about a high schooler that falls in love but has schizophrenia. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess because of the mental illness story, it was of interest to me. It's like, all right, now how do you overcome that? And it's cool that they still gave him a talent. In this case, it was he wanted to go to cooking school. So yeah, I do like some of those feel-good, inspirational stories. well, he still has struggles throughout. I guess that's the best way of wording it without being a spoiler, because I don't like people spoiling movies for me. Oh, and yes, more TV. Sometimes I'm interested in the paid program they have after the 6 o'clock news on Channel 4 here, the CBS affiliate, because sometimes it's the Time Life music ad. This time, though, they had Car Shield, and I researched that online, and uh, it sounded like it was a scam. And then it's like, well, it was of interest to me because they had Mike Ditka, the pro football player, as one of their spokesmen. It's like, yeah, celebrity endorsement doesn't do anything for me. It's just plain weird. I guess that'll do it for me. Thank you. Been great.